our respected madam. So, Farah, please start your PPT now.
Yes, sir. So, ma'am, good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to all students. So today I'm going to introduce Kapure ma'am. This is just a small gesture from my side because I know her personally. So let's begin the introduction with some pictures. So as you know that she is head of department of our of HPT Arts and our RYK Science College. She's handling administrative responsibilities as head of department of psychology in HPT Arts and RYK Science College, Nasik. She have more than 25 years of teaching experience in UG and PG levels, and we are so proud of her. And so she was my professor when I was doing my post-graduation in clinical psychology, and she taught me psychological testing and psychopathology. She is the great mentor who inspired and encouraged us in our studies. She was very patient with all of us. She is a teacher with passion of teaching, actually. And she has also completed 1 month applied psychometric course in December 2022 from our institute. Ma'am, thank you so much for being here and teaching our students as a teacher and giving your valuable time to us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Farah, for this kind gesture. Actually, shall I talk something about these 2-3 photographs? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Which slide should I?
The second one.
Second one, yes, sure, ma'am. One second, ma'am.
Just to tell all of you about this particular, I can say one of the very grand event we used to celebrate in our college every year, and it is known as Ankur Psychology Festival. Can you show that second slide?
Yes,
the opening ceremony.
Yes,
just show
yes,
why. There is some reason behind showing that.
Yeah.
So this is actually the poster exhibition that is our all students used to arrange, and definitely why I'm giving the emphasis on this, because you can study with books, you can study with attending the lectures by looking at Google and everything, but when we give the chance or exposure to all the students, and this is a common platform for both UG as well as PG students of our institute or our department rather, we try to give them some particular kind of theme every year. Now, right now also in this year, most probably in the month of April, we are planning to have this Ankur Psychology Festival, and we are trying to give the platform or opportunity to our all students. We used to decide certain theme, and on the basis of that theme, they are going to display the various posters. Okay, not necessarily they are little bit like only the charts and everything, but they might be developing the modules also. They might be finding out some typical psychological test based on that theme. And then all the campus students, other college students, or even the campus students, like we have the arts and science streams in our college. So those students visit this all exhibition. Then we used to have some dignitaries also, or some celebrities also, to inaugurate this particular program. So this person is Dr. Mahesh Karandikar. He is a neurosurgeon belonging in Nasik, sir. And he has done many surgeries related with neurospine as well. And he visited our 2020 Ankur Festival. So he has inaugurated. Behind him, our principal sir is there, Dr. Suryavanshi. So I just want to show this because now this is the 13th year we are going to celebrate this. In COVID also, we planned this online. Two Ankur Fest were decided on the online platform. That time also we tried to arrange the various PPT presentations or various models presented by students itself, on the Zoom platform, and that was the around 1.5 or 2 hours program. But usually this program covers 1.5 day or 2 days every year since 2009. Okay, so and again, once again, as she has added many kind words for me. I will thank Para, and it is my pleasure that my student is also being at certain very good position and handling many responsibilities. So this is a very good moment, a proud moment for me also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. So
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I am also planning some poster competition.
Okay.
So I am thinking so that we can add the poster competition result in our newsletter. So
Right.
RPRIT has started the newsletter in this year, first time. So that is my plan. I have requested Farah also.
Yes, she
think
has
about the
sent
poster
some
competition.
brochure also. Yes, some information on the group also that they added. Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Now you can start your
Okay,
lecture.
sir. Yes. I'll just share the screen. Okay. Good evening, students. As per the sequence of our syllabus, today I will be discussing with you one another topic related with data collection or rather survey research. Okay. So as per the syllabus, if you have gone through last lecture, we discussed about observation and types of observation, as well as how control observation is little different rather than the naturalistic observation, as well as advantages and disadvantages. So any difficulty, any doubt about the last point, or shall I continue with this new one? You can unmute yourself and you can ask if you have any doubt as such.
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I went through the other literature also. There was something like participant and non-participant observation.
Right.
So what is that, ma'am?
Actually, as per the syllabus I am following, so I couldn't touch that point also. That is also one of the important type, like participant observation and non-participant observation. Then one is systematic observation and unsystematic observation. So actually in participant observation, naturally the observee and observer will be the part of that, what you can say, the observation itself. Okay. Means like if I am observing you, I'm sitting between you only or among you only, and I'm trying to observe you all people as my respondents. Okay, that is participant observation. Okay, while non-participant will be little different. The examiner, or rather the we can say the researcher, will be somewhere apart from that particular situation or that particular gathering, but still indirectly he's observing the participants or non-participant, sorry, respondents. This is the clear difference between these two. Is it clear?
Okay.
Amit sir, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else has any other doubt or any addition you want to make between that particular point? Okay. Shall I go ahead then?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So I think again, all of you are aware about this term survey research or survey rather. So can you tell me what will be the difference between just the survey term and survey research as such? Anyone can explain that as per their understanding?
Madam, like this, if you go to any mall,
right,
they take this your means inputs regarding their facility they are providing. So they may just look at the survey and try to improve there. But
Yes.
but if someone wants to do survey for the research,
Right.
then it will be a lot of formalized way where the variables will be converted to some scale may be used. Means there will be proper research for it.
Right. Very good. Very good. Anybody else wants to add up in that or revise Amit sir's answer?
Ma'am, also in terms of, so when we usually in terms of land, we survey the land and we see how
Right.
much area is covered. but that does not convert into like proper research or like new findings or anything. It's just to understand what is available on that particular piece of land. But when we say survey or like collect information from the people living over there, what is the economic status, what occupations they are going, what problems they are facing, and come up with solutions, that is most research oriented, is what my understanding is.
Yes, definitely. Because now Sarah has given us some different approach. Like if you just imagine the people who belong with agriculture or geography, rather, okay. So they do use this survey method, but in some different context. Okay. So, and when Amit sir has given, that is a everyday business. Like we also, if I want to purchase anything, naturally I will visit some shop. I might just ask the salesman to show me different kinds of things, or rather the buying material as such, and through that will be able to check whether I am going to buy this particular kind of material, or I am not able to, okay, or whether I have the enough scope also. Because if I am buying some matching dupatta for my kurta, so naturally he should show me the exact quantity of those particular material. He can't just show me one and two, and I don't have any scope to choose from out of those two things as okay. So when they talk about survey in day-to-day life, naturally Marathi jala आपण म्हणतो सर्वेक्षण. Okay. So now that survey is more or less related with for a time being. It is for a movement as such. Okay. So daily life, each and every person is doing this kind of survey. But when we use this term in research, it has some definite characteristic or definite meaning also. Yeah, as we said, in quantitative method or in quantitative approach, definitely survey is one of the important method. Okay, so I just mentioned here about that. So first is survey can be done with variety of methods. So one of that might be self-report, it might be questionnaire also, it might be interview also, or different types of survey are there. We are going to discuss few of them. First is survey researchers ask their participants, who are often called respondents in survey research. Why they have not been called as participants? Like in observation, we said more or less they are the participant, but here the term has been changed for the subject or rather the examinee as respondents. Anybody can tell?
Because there is interaction.
Right. Or we can also say, means as in the initial point only I have mentioned, self-report. So when you are sharing with them some kind of questionnaire and they had to report about they themselves. So naturally they are responding to some kind of statement, some questions, or it might be some kind of picture also like the TAT cards or Rosha cards as such. And through that, we are trying to analyze. We, that is the researcher, is trying to analyze what kind of responses they have given. Okay. So that only here is mentioned, to report directly on their own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Yes. Not necessarily always through observation, we are going to get that data, that information, which might be more suitably possible in survey research. So there are three again domains we can say, how the person is thinking, how the person is feeling, or the affect part as such, and what kind of cognitive part, or usually we call it as a behavior. Okay. So this is the major interest of survey research. We are trying to tap that thinking, feeling, and behavior part. Then second is considerable attention is paid to the issue of sampling. Now, just now, Amit sir has given this example about we are visiting the mall and they are just doing the survey of the consumers. Okay, but when we talk about the research, we need to think about the sampling. I think all of you are aware about this term, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
why I'm asking this, because when they say about sampling, naturally we can't do the survey of whole population. Okay, we need to decide. We need to design the sampling there. Okay, or we have to take care of the representative sample group, which is the part of that exact population. And say if I'm staying in Nasik and I want to study the youngsters who are studying in senior colleges of Nasik, so naturally my population might be in lakhs. But out of that, I might be selecting few of them, like thousands of them or 500 of them, based on certain sampling criteria or rather sampling design. So in survey also, they are trying to decide about that. The survey researchers have a strong preference for large random samples because they provide the most accurate estimates of what is true in the population. Again, this is one of the advantage I can say for quantitative research. We can be able to decide or chalk out the population size, and on the basis of that, we can be able to draw the exact sample size. Both the points are clear? Okay. Then where exactly this survey research is possible or rather used? Okay. So naturally, we all are aware about this, I think. One is applied social research, then market research and election polling. Nowadays, this is one of the biggest, I can say, the facility we have, that immediately after the election or voting has been done, all the, what can I say, the various channels are going to have this kind of common dialogue or conversation among the polling experts, yeah, rather the election experts as such, and they try to do this survey also. So we usually call it as a poll results, exit poll results. Okay, yeah, we can also do the survey research in consumer behavior assessment. Anybody wants to give an example of this? How one can do the consumer behavior assessment in a form of survey? Yes, Amrita, you want to try?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
So in consumer behavior assessment, we can check if there is offer on one product, and if it is written, so for example, we had an example in our undergrad that if one product is if on a product it is written 20% fat free, and if on another product it is written 80% fat, so which product the consumer is more likely to buy?
Okay, okay. So, but how the survey will be done for doing this assessment? Like, are you going to meet those people who are buying that product, or are you visiting the special shops who are selling that? How you are going to do that?
You can ask the question, which product do you buy the most, or
Okay,
we can give the names of the products and ask them.
right. Or there might be different outlets specially made for this particular product as such, na? And
Yes.
you can just like hire some volunteers also, and they can stand and they just will go through with the assessment of that. Okay, okay. So usually we say these are the typical areas where survey research can be done. But yes, in academics also, most of the sciences, most of the behavioral sciences, I can say, they do follow this survey research method. So I just mentioned some of them, like political science, sociology, public health, and psychology.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Huh.
Ma'am, recently I went to a mall. There was a girl who just asked me, ki, you have this kid, so do you join any classes for this, and what is her performance? Like, she was asking me to join her online classes.
Okay, okay.
So will it also come under this type of survey?
I think she is just requesting you, na?
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
necessary. She is just collecting the data from the people who either joined her class or not joined her class. Okay. So I
Like,
don't think so.
She was asking ki if you are if you had joined any classes, or what was the performance, this type of questions.
So I think I just now remember about, I think many of you psychology students might be knowing about this. We call it as a conformity. And in that we have this different techniques of compliance. Do you remember, sir?
Yes.
Foot in the door, door on the
Yes,
face, and all that.
door on the
So,
face technique, foot in the door technique.
yes, yes. So why you are giving this example? I can say initially she might be doing the smaller request, like she might be gathering the information, whether you are joining some class or not. Okay, not necessary you are a student. Okay, but later on she might request you, why not you join our class? So
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is
She gave
yes.
her number to me.
Yes, yes.
Just kindly call me one time. I will tell you about our online classes and all these things.
Right. So more or less, I can say it is like a compliance technique. They are trying to go with the smaller request first and a bigger request. Okay. It won't be actually or exactly come under the survey research. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, as we are talking about key, survey research will be non-experimental. Yes, it is always compulsorily key. Yes, it can be experimental. I already added that later on. But when we talk about survey research, why it is non-experimental? Because we are going to conduct the research or survey research rather on the basis of the collected sample, but we won't divide them into some definite groups. Like usually in experimental study, what we do, we try to divide them into minimum 2 groups, like one is experimental group and one is control group. But here the methodology itself is different for survey research. So like if we talk about like the percentage of voters who prefer one presidential candidate or another, or if you want to just gather the data for some psychiatrist OPD, how many patients are suffering with schizophrenia, pure schizophrenia as such, or in a 1 year span of time, how many OCD cases he has handled. Okay, so this kind of survey will be purely non-experimental, but sometimes surveys can also be experimental. So any idea how the experimental surveys can be done, or what might be the difference between the non-experimental and experimental surveys? Anyone wants to try? Yes.
Maybe so in experimental surveys, you give them something to fill initially, then some intervention or the effect that you're trying to measure, and then another thing, I mean, that will measure ki, did these effects actually take place?
Right.
Pre and post intervention.
Yes, yes, sure. Like if I say ki now 12 board exam are coming nearer. Okay. So if my student has gone to the 12 coaching class, tuition class, and she has assessed the 12 students' anxiety state. Okay. Then she might have at least 8 days, she might have given them some meditation or mindfulness technique as such. Okay. And immediately after that, she might have again assessed their anxiety test as such. Okay, so through that they are going to check this key, the pre-test or before giving the intervention and after giving the intervention, what is the change in their state of anxiety. Okay, so in that way we can say is to some extent survey research can be done in experimental manner, but majority of the time it is non-experimental. Now we will come for the types of survey. I think all of we or you are familiar with this, but yes, to just discuss as a theoretical point, we are going to discuss about these three. So one is online survey, then telephone survey, and panel survey. So if I go from reverse, so naturally panel survey is more related with there are different number of people or members of the panel, and they are going to do the survey. Compared to that, the telephonic survey will be like 1 to 1 person, like somebody is calling you, like usually we come across with this telecallers. Okay, like I remember when smartphone were not that familiar in our surroundings, or we are not used to that particular. At that time, very few networked people are there, na? Like BSNL ka tha, ya Vodafone tha, ya, or few of them were there. And then they try to collect our landline numbers, and then they used to call us on the phone by doing this survey. Okay? Why not you switch from the BSNL to Vodafone or something like that? Okay, so in that way we can say this is also from one person to another through telephone. And online survey, I think all of you are aware and familiar with this, because every now and then we are doing this online survey. Like even during COVID period also, you might have come across, or majority of our work has also been done with this online survey. So that is through the internet or through email technique as such. Okay. So just few examples I added here, like voting intentions, then consumer preferences, social attitudes or regarding health, and data. Okay. So if in detail we want to discuss about this, so first is online survey. Naturally, the major, I can say the characteristic or feature of this key, if you are deciding to do the online survey, naturally, with you also and your respondent, very good internet connection must be there. And like we can't do the online survey, like if I want to immediately get the feedback of my session, this current session from you, then naturally at both the ends that good network facility is needed. Okay, then and then only we are able to do that. So usually we say this is the technological advancement which gives us the facility of this online survey. So again, there also we can say two possibilities are there. Either you can prepare the Google form, or you can just send a question with email and your respondent is going to answer those particular questions. Okay. Then second is, this survey are easy to design and simple to deploy. And yes, respondents are given ample time and space to the respondent to answer these surveys. So researchers can expect unbiased responses, and compared to other surveys, which are more like personal way, these are less expensive. But still, do you think there is any limitation or drawback? Already I mentioned one, but on the basis of this less bias or unbiased responses, do you think some of the other time these online surveys are not giving us a very reliable data as such? Can
You
we
don't.
discuss? Yes.
Sorry. You're not
Yes,
sure
yes.
that who the other person is who is filling these. I mean, if it is legitimately the person that they are claiming to be, or filling it multiple times for whatever reason, maybe.
Right, right.
But yeah.
Yes, or we can say usually, we don't have the enough control on the respondents. Like many people are like good fakers. You will come across this term later on also, or you might have heard about this. Okay, some people are very good fakers and some are very bad fakers. Or we can also say some people are not very consistent in their responses. Okay, like just imagine I want to collect the data on the with the respondents for new FFI. You all are aware about that, I think. New FFI, that is the personality assessment test. Okay, so there, if you have gone through the items or the questions of new FFI, you will understand. Okay, the same questions have been asked in some different language. Okay, and if in the online survey, especially, I'm trying to explain you with this. Okay? For the same question, the answers are very much different. So through this online survey, you don't have that facility or advantage. You can be able to understand exactly what he wants to explain or express with that particular question. Okay. Yeah, when they say about the major drawback of this is, it is not a medium accessible to all ranges of the population. And since there is not direct contact or mediator, the data received may not be all reliable. Like why they have mentioned about this all ranges of the population. Just imagine like initially somebody has given the example of about agricultural land. Okay, so if I want to do some survey with the help of online survey or online questions, and what is the medium of instructions or medium of questionnaire I have prepared, if that language itself is not very familiar with the population which I had chosen. Okay, like just imagine कि मैंने कोई एकदम इंटीरियर एरिया में रूरल एरिया में ये एग्रीकल्चर लैंड रिलेटेड कुछ सर्वे करना चाहा है या आई हैव प्लान्ड दैट बट देयर if I have prepared a questionnaire in a very so sophisticated language, for example English as such, okay, and out of those 100 people who are my respondents, hardly 20 of them are little good or understanding the English language. So is the my purpose going to be fulfilled? Is it possible for me to collect the data in proper way? Not necessary. Am I getting you? Is it clear or no? Hello?
Yeah.
So the major drawback of this is ki, yes, in a minute you are going to send that Google form. In a minute you are going to send the email to all of them. You don't have to visit them. You don't have to spend your money or time or everything. But the written, like when we say about the responding capacity of the population or rather the sample, it might not be always sorry, very similar, or rather there are some varied responses which won't be able to analyze in a same criteria or in a same meter. Okay, so this is one drawback they have mentioned about online survey. And the second type is telephone survey. So naturally, I think all of we are aware about this, how the particular questions have been asked through telecalling or through telephone. But again, I can say though this survey are little bit time consuming, but again, there is major drawback of this particular method. Can anyone tell me? I already written something, but just a simpler way of limitation of this type.
Respondents' apathy.
Okay.
One researcher can take the survey only once with a only one time. So he requires, if he wants to take the survey of 10 people, so he has to call, he or she has to call 10 people 10 times.
Right.
So that
right.
is very
time consuming. Yes, that is there. But yes, I agree with both of your answers. But one of the another approach I just want to tell you about is when I am talking about a telephonic survey for the research. I'm not just talking about market research. Like I have 4 to 5 questions about certain product which is newly launched, and now I'm just asking their responses or their tryout about that particular product. But if I'm doing some psychological survey, and there, if I have the list of questions, okay, so though might have taken the consent, I had taken their prior time also, and then I have called them on telephone. It is not necessary that the way in the what are that auditory information I'm getting. Okay, though we can say there is a very good network and everything is very intact, but still not necessarily the whole content of the information will be reached towards me. Okay, yeah, sometimes it might be possible that if I'm asking some question, if it is not understandable to the respondent, हो सकता है ना कि my language is little vague, or it is absurd, or it is too personal, or it is too private, and he is not ready to answer that. Then it is not that easier to use this telephone survey. Are you clear about this now? So that's only people
hesitancy,
say.
Hesitancy about
yes, hesitancy about that. Yeah, even ऐसे भी होगा ना कि they need some time to answer. Not necessarily immediately in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I will collect the whole data, whichever the questions I have prepared on telephone survey. Okay, yeah, that's only they say usually this method can be applicable for the marketing field, because there very few or we can't say the exact information will be utilized in the same manner like we are using that in a particular social sciences researchers. Okay, the third is panel survey. So here now I can say it is a combination of actually interview method also, or it is like some kind of survey will be done with the questionnaire also, or some one-to-one interviews also, and through that they are going to do this panel survey. So mainly they have mentioned the definition. It is a longitudinal study that measures the behavior of people over time, including their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Yes, like it may not be just for a time being, but for days or months or even years together also, people are doing this panel survey. Okay, yeah, it might be like a whole carriage of the consumers or the employees or the patients also, and through that they are trying to get valuable insights. But again, I can say these surveys are the combination of both interviews, questionnaires, and even barcode scanning can be used for data collection. But compared to other 2 types, I can say, like telephonic survey or online survey, panel survey are also little taxing, or they demands more time also as well as money also. So this is earlier. Yes.
Actually, in the previous panel survey, I did not understand the meaning of panel.
Panel is that is the group of people.
Okay.
Like just a panel interview होता है. Like there is a group of people, and they might be not actually talking with the respondent by telephone, but they might be handing over some kind of questionnaire, or they are also simultaneously doing or taking the interviews also, and through that they are trying to collect the data. Okay,
okay, ma'am, means in a panel, some researchers are given of particular variable to understand.
Yes, yes.
Different five observers will, or 5 researchers will study 5 separate variables on one patient or one.
Yes. Yes. Or otherwise also, like if I am doing some research work, I might have some students or assistants. So we all together will reach towards the respondents, and we are trying to take their interviews, or we are trying to hand over them some questionnaires and trying to understand what they are going through. So it is at again the 3 ends, like how they are thinking or how they are feeling and how they are behaving also. Okay, and it is not just for a one time. As I said earlier, it is a longitudinal study. So it develops for years together. They say purely the developmental psychology study, or even you might be aware, some of you, positive psychology study can be done by panel survey. Because at every year or at every stage, I can say, there are different opinions or the beliefs of the people. So that can be tackled, or that can be collected with panel survey. Okay.
But here you are just using the word interview. So in the interview, are we asking them questions? So are you trying to explore any qualitative information?
Yes, yes, that's only I am saying कि अभी जरूरी नहीं कि आपके हाथ में questionnaire है, which is a standardized question, okay? But whatever the research topic or a problem or a hypothesis you had decided, that questionnaire doesn't cover all those points related with that variable. So you might have developed your own question around open-ended questions like that, and through the interview you are asking them. So you are trying to combine or collect the material both a written statement of questionnaire as well as the interview questions you have asked to the SAM. Okay. Okay. So this is all about a survey type. Now the second point in this is structured and unstructured interview. Again, this is one of the most suitable technique in data collection, but by the name itself, you can guess the structured will be more like there are some rigorous techniques are there. There are some fixed questions are there, and those questions will be based on the standardization procedure as per the psychological tool as such, or psychological testing as such. Okay, so I will just explain about the first is the method of collecting information through personal interviews is usually carried out in a structured way, so they are named as structured interviews. This involves the use of a set of predetermined questions and of highly standardized techniques of recording the interviewer in a structured interview follows a rigid procedure laid down, asking questions in a form and order prescribed. Yes, like now you can just imagine if there is some kind of selection interviews are taking place. Okay, so will they be structured or unstructured? Yes.
Structured in interview means all the interviewers are putting some specific questions of some specific domains. So that is structured.
Yes, but is it possible that somewhere they might divert towards from structured to unstructured also?
Yes, they may divert.
Yes. So usually we say कि not necessary purely the job selection interviews are purely structured, but preferably I can say they should be structured. Because unless until if they are selecting the person for some kind of a skill-based job, so they should or they must ask the questions based on that skill job. They should not ask about his personal life or his family life or anything else. They are the things to just develop the rapport initially, but they should conclude their content or come towards that content in a structured manner. So naturally, these are the questions which are priorly selected, priorly arranged by the interviewer, and they also follow sometimes the recording. Why the recording is or why it is beneficial to do the recording of the that particular interview tool as such or situation as such. Why it is necessary?
Coding of the information. Coding of the information.
Yes, coding as well as like anybody else wants to try? Yes. Why they prefer the recording rather than just having the oral dialogue between two people?
As evidence also someone can
right, as well. What is the major objective behind doing this structured interview? Naturally, at the end, if like just imagine the situation where daily around 50 to 100 students ka interview chal rahe hai na, and at the end of the day you have to select out of that 100 applicants 5 of them. Okay, so naturally there is too many bulk of information in the mind of the interviewer also. So if he has the good recording of that each and every interview as such, he can be able to check really which candidate is more suitable or which candidate might be like just projecting himself in a very good way or presentable way as such, but in reality he might not have that solid content as such. Okay, so in a way they are saying in structured they are also going to check how far they are stick to their predetermined question. They haven't gone somewhere apart from that. Okay, so that is the major advantage I can say structured interview can be done in a that particular means you can apply the recording also there to fix your understanding or rather check your understanding. But yes, again, it is very expensive as well as time consuming. And the other drawback is less validity of collected information. So first, if we talk about the time consumption, why? Because again, as it is a personal interview. So naturally, one-to-one, like if there are 100 applicants and I have to finish those interviews hardly in a week period of time or 2 days in a period of time. So I need to spend a big amount of time also and the money also to arrange them, then to call them, to send them the call letters, then arrange the particular physical environment there and everything else. Okay. So structure interviews, they are saying about some drawbacks related with this. And second is less validity of collected information. I think all of you are aware about validity. What you mean by less validity of collected information? Why this is one of the drawbacks?
Normally, validity, like what we have studied, is that whether whatever we are measuring, the tool is purport to be measured, and whether it is really measuring that. So, less validity here, I can't understand. Less
It is
validity.
something like that only, but I think you are not finding the exact words. Anyone else wants to try? Yes, Amrita, Pooja, Pauravi.
Ma'am, can you repeat what you asked? My net is like.
Okay. Actually, in the slide, I have mentioned the disadvantages of structured interview. And in that, I added the point. This is the disadvantage key. There is a less validity of collected information. Whatever the information you collect with structured interview are less valid. So I'm just asking whether it is possible to explain that.
So, can I try?
Yes, sure.
So in structured interview, there are predetermined questions. So the answers that we will get are just related to that questions. If we want to gauge more information, we won't be able to, ask the questions.
Right.
And get more information.
Yes, very true. Yeah, as I gave you just example regarding key, if I want to hire a person for some particular skill job, okay, but not necessary what are the questions I had and what are the dialogue I have checked with that particular person will be covering each and everything. And again, not necessary at the time of interview what are the answers he has given. It might happen, he might know the each and everything, minutest details of that, but during the time of interview, he is unable to find the words, okay, or he is not able to express in a proper manner. So it doesn't mean that just the collected information is foolproof. Okay? We have to give them the next chance also. Yeah, we can say we have to check their knowledge again and again by using some another tool or technique. Okay, so in that way they are saying yes, structured interview ka use hai sab jagah hai. In industrial psychology also they do use this, but not necessary. You should only rely on that interview ka information which you have collected. Okay.
Ma'am, here like you are saying that means the expression of the information from the respondents is little bit maybe less or maybe
yes, but, or it is halfway. It is halfway also, na? Like the way I am asking the question, he has not able to give the proper answer for that. Same way, if I had done the written test for that same question, he might write number of pages of that. Getting me?
No, but I think the valid means respondents' response is making this tool as in less valid, or like because in the structured observation only the interviewer is not allowed to deviate from the questions. Is allowing that.
No, I had written the point less validity of collected information.
Okay.
So what I am thinking already I have said the questions and I need to get the answers, proper answers related with that questions. है ना? But when they say about validity of collected information, यानी आज के तारीख में शायद he has given me very good answers, but after 2 days if I ask him the same thing, it is something else. Getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? Yes. Then compared to the structured one, the other type is unstructured interviews, which are characterized by a flexibility of approach to question. So as I said, there won't be the list of questions, or there won't be the prior arrangement or sequence of questions as such, but it will be little informal kind of question. Okay, and the interviewer is allowed much greater freedom to ask, in case of need, supplementary questions, or at times he may omit certain questions if the situation so requires. Usually hota hai na, I can share one just today's example with you. Recently our MA first year students has faced their practical exam. Okay, so all of you are aware that in the practical exam they need to face the viva. So when they, just one of our students has shared these incidents with me today. He doesn't have the psychology background at his BA level. Okay, so that examiner, external examiner who came to our college to take this particular examination. So she was like asking very simple and to the what are the tests they have solved that day, to the point of questions to those non-psychology students. Okay, and compared to that, the students who have the prior or basic background of psychology, she was digging more towards those particular other students. Okay, so now why I'm sharing this particular incidents, now you will understand. Okay, in non-structured you have this facility. Okay, like if I know okay, the front person is able to give me the answers in this manner, I don't have to again and again repeat the same format of the questions. Okay, but if the other side, if I'm understanding the front person is somewhere diverting from the topic, so I might have to omit some of the question. I won't be strictly following the questions which are not in a predetermined order as such, but what are the sequence I have framed in my mind. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So means this kind of situation may arise at the time of examination or viva also. जैसे होता है कि जो थोड़ा बहुत studious बच्चा होता है, if he is very interested in answering each and every question, the examiner will also take enjoyment of asking them the question. But if the other person is not at all very much interested in giving the very simple kind of questions ka answer bhi, then naturally the examiner will stop there itself. Okay, so when we talk about the unstructured interview also, they are saying the same thing. It is something like the exploratory research. Okay, or this can be used in case of exploratory or formulative research study. Like on the basis of that data, if you want to decide some formulation of research explanations or descriptive studies as such, definitely this research can be more, this technique is more suitable. So in case of descriptive studies, we quite often use the technique of structured interview because of its being more economical, providing the safe basis for generalization and requiring relatively lesser skill on the part of the interview. So we can usually say that non-structured interview will expect more skill. Why? Because they need to mingle around the various forms of the questioning, which may not be possible in the structure because they have the set of questions in hand and they just have to go on asking one after another. So again, the advantages of this unstructured interview. One is deeper understanding of respondents' behavior because they get little more time also, and they are not just trying
Madam,
to.
Can you just explain that last point of last
previous slide? Okay.
Yes,
previous. The last point you are saying that is regarding the technique of structured interview. So when they say about, in case of descriptive studies, we quite often use the technique of structured interview because of its being more economical. So now when we talk about the descriptive studies, okay, like, yes, if I want to observe some institute as such, and in 5 to 10 years span of time, what kind of good things or what kind of changes they have made in that particular organization. Okay, so this is, I'm just asking one of the authority figure of that institute as such. I had a set of questions with me and I'm just taking their interview. Okay, and through that I'm trying to collect the data, and on that basis I'm trying to decide how such kind of institutes or organizations can provide a good base for the generalization. Like if there are academic institutes under the one particular society or one particular organization, So, zaruri nahi hai ki whatever the information you have gathered from one institute will be always suitable or applicable for rest of the institute under that one roof. Okay, but you will get a strong base on that basis, which you have collected with the help of that interview. Okay, so this is one advantage they have mentioned under the descriptive studies with the help of structured interview. क्योंकि उसमें आपका time ज़्यादा नहीं जा रहा है. It is comparably economical because you don't need to frame and reframe your questions or the particular way of asking the questions also. And as I said earlier also, not necessarily always the exact researcher will visit that particular place and take the interview. He can hire some other people also, and they can just borrow the questionnaires, and they can conduct the interviews. Agreed?
Okay.
So back to non-structured, unstructured interview. Yes, as I was saying, they are showing the deeper understanding of respondents' behavior because they can communicate in more detail. Okay, because they are not just sticking to the ready-made questions or the predetermined question, but they are also asking the many other additional information in a unstructured format. And so it is inflexible also. But again, as it has some pros, there are some cons also or demerits also. One is greater scope for personal influence and bias of the interviewer. This is one disadvantage. And second is comparably, they are less reliable than structured interview. So I think all of you will agree with this, why there is a major scope for personal influence and why there is a bias of the interview. Can anyone try to give some example of this? Anyone wants to try? Not necessarily the pure research example, but you can give the daily life example also.
So maybe in clinical settings where
Yes,
you
yes.
So when the client mentions something, you have to like follow it through. You can't just go with your usual questioning. You have to
Yes.
make sure you've got all the symptoms that they're experiencing.
Right, right. Yeah, like now you have given the example from clinical psychology, but there also you have so many studies we have read in our earlier classes. Like usually when particular, like if the doctor is of same gender, like if the client is also a lady and doctor is also a lady person. Okay, so how those personal influences or how those personal feelings and emotions are going to get involved in, yeah, it might be otherwise also. Like sometimes the interviewers are having their own subjectivity in collecting the information. Okay, so in that way, this unstructured interview are comparably not that helpful as such. Okay, and second, as I said, they are less reliable because again we can say you don't have the set number of questions. So whatever the information you had drawn from the interview might not be exactly suitable for your latter purposes. Okay, and yes, definitely compared to structured one, the unstructured one demands the good skill on the part of the interviewer. Because he should have the good command on the subject matter, also good understanding about the subject, or rather the skill in having the good communication as such, or rather sometimes it might happen the front person is not very much ready to open up as such. So how he can be able to tackle that situation? So that is a very important skill which must have in the unstructured interview. The last point is these are at a measure of times are using for the exploratory or formulative research studies. And I repeated the same point which I had. Yes, and the last point. Farah, we have the time now.
Yes, ma'am. We have 5
this is
minutes.
just the last point. Okay, I will complete.
Yes,
Actually, as per the syllabus, it was in the prior content also they added this small point, that is fact-finding observation. Okay, so already we discussed observation, then various types of observation, but little bit more specific technique they had added here about fact-finding observation. And usually, again, I can say, though in both quantitative as well as qualitative research, we can follow this particular method, but majority of the time, this is more suitable or applicable in phenomenological inquiry. Okay, so here I just mentioned some of the things like observation, already we all know whatever we are seeing, whatever we are looking through with our naked eye will be based on some kind of phenomena, or rather we have gathered that information. But still we say there are two aspects of observation. One is overt, that is all of us can be able to see that, and one is covert. Correct. So when it can definitely use when we are gathering the data and when we are trying to watch other people's behavior. But sometimes that behavior itself may not be very direct. Like as I said, it is not always observable. So usually that time we are using this fact-finding observation, or to uncover the data of covert observation, we use this fact-finding observation. So this is, as I said, it might be used in qualitative research because there are so many evidences we are trying to look at or trying to gather out when we are trying to do the research study. Not necessarily always we are interviewing the people who are at present or currently working over there or being a part of that particular location as such, but sometimes we have the evidences or archival data as such, and that archival data can always be checked with this fact-finding observation. Okay, so here again we can say mainly in observation, researchers may participate actively to study the flow of behavior and interact with the sample, but they can cross-check that information with the existing documents, okay, or rather the questionnaires or interviews they can take with the existing sample, as well as what are the prior evidences they have collected or they are available in that particular, usually this happen when archival data or archival research is done on some particular topic as such. So naturally, they can go for the past information as well as the current information. So through that also, one can do this fact-finding observation. When we are discussing the qualitative research module or that sub-point, again, this point will be repeated. Okay. So I think this is the last one today. Yes. Any doubt, any question or something additional you want to share? Still 2 minutes are there. What happened today? Some people are little not energetic or active, or they are tired. Is it so?
Madam, fact-finding observation example, can you give me?
That was only I was saying, like if I say there is some case study of some particular institute, okay, like some institute has just completed 50 years of their establishment as such, and there the researcher or rather whoever is interested in gathering that data, they might be already visiting the archival research related with that institute, as well as they are also taking interviews with the current employees over there. Okay, so through that, what they are going to check, okay, whatever has been mentioned in the prior research or prior evidences and the current aspects, are they going to have the suitability or what can say the reliability? That can be done with the fact finding ऑब्झर्वेशन. जसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना मराठीत आपण म्हणतो ना, माझ्या डोळ्यांनी मी जे पाहिलंय आणि कोणीतरी मला सांगितलं की असं असं झालंय. देयर इज अ डिफरन्स. वी कांट रिलाय ऑलवेज ऑन अदर स्पेक्स, others observation. We need to go into there, or we need to actually check that reality or facts related with that content.
So it has very limited applications, madam, or
it is, that's only it is used more in qualitative research, not the quantitative, because in quantitative, how you will measure that? Na? Okay, is it really suitably having the assessment to evidences as such? So in qualitative, otherwise as it is, we have little selected sample, and there also we can use the blended approach, not only the one technique of fact finding, but we can also do the case study or semi-structured interview, and in that way we can check the collected information. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, other students, what happened? Getting bored? Yes, Amrita, Pooja, Sarah.
Not getting bored, ma'am. It's just
Tired digesting.
Yeah, it's relatively easier to understand, and with examples, it is like we don't have any doubts as of now.
Okay, okay, no issue.
Ma'am, I think I'm not sure whether this will fit in the fact-finding observation, but I've put that in the answer for this the assignment that was put. There was this case study in my TY ka work in psychology book hooti, and we had this case study. I don't remember all the exact details. So it was like there was this American company who was making baby lotions, like the lotions you apply when you change diapers and everything. So the company like it asked for customer feedback, and everyone was like the lotion is very good, and like the mothers were the main target audience. And you know, the product is very good, we use it regularly, everything in that sort, but the sales were dropping rapidly. Like the sales weren't going very like the kind of reviews they were getting, but the sales they were having was not really that equivalent. So they called in a few mothers for a focus group discussion. Again, the mother said, you know, we use it in America, there's something known as diaper tables. I don't know exactly what that is. So they change the child's diapers and everything on the table, so you know it becomes easy and everything. But the users were not, you know, the data is not fitting well with what is happening on the sales front. So they gave the mothers these spectacles which had cameras in it. Okay, let's see what actually happens. So it happened. So the mothers were using the bottles, but it was like they were changing the child's diapers when they were doing chores, when they were working already with other you know, so they would the machines, like washing machine ka top, they would change it at the kitchen ka sink, which was a very odd angle. So the bottles were like the normal, you know, drip, not like the normal we open the cap and use the lotion thing. So single-handedly using it was not applicable. It was very much of a tedious work. That is why the sales were going down. वो feasible नहीं था. So then the company changed its packaging, and they had these pump bottles so that, you know, pump it and use it together. Like it becomes easier to handle. So then the sales went high. So I think
right. Miss, like you want to say that simultaneously when they are doing some other job, they couldn't concentrate in that particular work of changing the diaper. But when they had changed that packaging thing only of that bottle, it went little high.
They had to see what was actually happening.
Right. So I say this is a good example only, and yes, it is a fact finding. Yani, why we do fact finding? Any marketer or market researcher will do fact finding. Why? Because it is not just always they are taking care of the good sales target as such. You know? Like sometimes just why people are not using something, or why there is no very profitable industry as that particular product, for just counteracting that evidences also they are using this fact finding. जरूरी नहीं ना कि 10 लोग यूज करें, but if they are not very happy with the product, but they don't have any other choice, so they might be using that product. So this fact finding can also be done with this tool. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
है ना मिस, जरूरी नहीं कि आपको खाली सेल्स बढ़ाने के लिए वो करना था. ठीक है, their motto was definitely like that, but now also if I say कि I am teaching with some single method for years together, but still I see I don't get the exact expected outcome from my student, so why not I will change some another method compared to the earlier method. But if that second method is not giving me again the expected result, why should I switch over from the first method to second one? Getting it? So this is the fact finding only. Getting it? Yes or no? Hello? Okay. Okay. So any other question or doubt somebody has? Or shall we complete the session? Yes, Farah. Shall we stop here?
Ma'am,
Yes.
I have a doubt.
Board.
Ma'am, there was an experiment in social psychology by Muzaffar Sharif, in which he divided children into groups and studied, intergroup dynamics. So it happened in natural settings, but it had a manipulation by the researcher. So it will be controlled observation, right?
Yes, because you are trying to manipulate the situation in some or the other way. Not you are not allowing the respondent to behave as they want, like the natural setting.
Right. So control doesn't mean always in a laboratory. It can be in
Not
natural
necessary.
environment.
Yes. It can be outside also. इसीलिए तो like frankly speaking, I could throw a light on only those two types. But if you check the other types of observation, just now initially sir has asked about participant and non-participant. Same way, there are many other types of this observation. I will suggest you to refer A.K. Singh ka book. Most of you might be using that in their graduates or PG classes.
General psychology.
No. It is a book by A.K. Singh. The title is Test, Measurements and Research Methods in Behavioral
And
Science.
measurement.
It is
light peachish color pink.
Yes. To show it, I have this. Now this is the older edition, but the newer version, I think it is little blackish, brownish cover. It is a simple book for research methodology, I can say. Those who don't have the background of psychology, they can also read it. It's simple language. It is available even online also, I think. Okay, shall we stop, Farah?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So right now or after, by tomorrow morning, I will share this PPT. Now this PPT which covered my prior session and today's session. Is okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It's okay.
Right.
Sir, are you there? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Then we can stop here, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Bye.
Okay, ma'am. Take care, ma'am.
So now on Friday, we have class on Friday.
Yes, ma'am. We have class on Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you want to say something?
I have something to say, but everybody has left now.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Everybody left.
Okay.
Sorry, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Bye. Take care, sir. Good night.